thank you for checking out the Sportsline Podcast on the CHCH and Parrot Media platform. I'm Bubba O'Neill. As you know, we love speaking to and uncovering amazing sports stories that hail from Southern Ontario, and in particular, the Golden Horseshoe region. And as this podcast has proven to so many of you, there are many, many people to talk to. Today, a newly knighted NBA champion from right here in Hamilton, not named Shai Gilgeous-Alexander. At one time, this York University student represented Canada playing on the women's national rugby squad. With a passion for the world of athletic rehabilitation and performance, Tobi Owotomo attended York University and earned a Bachelor of Science in Kinesiology and Exercise Science. After that, higher education with a Doctor of Physical Therapy degree from Stony Brook University in Long Island, New York. Currently, this New York native and Hamilton resident is the Doctor of Physical Therapy and Athletic Trainer for the who? The Oklahoma City Thunder. Tobi, thank you so much for joining us on the Sportsline Podcast.
Good morning. Thank you so much. I'm happy to be here.
Well, it's great. You're joining us from Phoenix, Arizona. What is it, about 100 degrees there?
I don't know, but I felt like I was in an incinerator yesterday, so probably something along those lines.
Look, there's so much. I mean, this is one of the great untold stories that we have had on this podcast. So I'm really interested in getting into so much that you've accomplished, with so much more, I'm sure, left in your career. But I need to ask you one thing, and I need to rightfully blow up all that you have done. I'm going to bring up what we call a name key in the television business. And can you tell me what all of this means, please?
Okay. You said a name key?
Okay. PT, DPT, ATC. What is all? I want you to explain to me what each one of those mean.
I will. So funny enough, another group of letters just was added to my name, but I thank God. This is God's doing in my life. But to start, PT means you've graduated. DPT means that you've graduated from an accredited Doctor of Physical Therapy program. PT meaning that you are like a licensed physical therapist. ATC means that you are an athletic trainer, a certified athletic trainer. And then CATC actually means that you're a certified athletic trainer in Canada. So before I ever became an athletic trainer in the United States, I was actually an athletic trainer in Canada first. And then CSCS means that I am a certified strength and conditioning specialist. And then recently I had SCS added to my list of certifications or qualifications, meaning that I'm a special sports physical therapy specialist as well. So thank God, but that's what all that means.
Well, for someone like me that's got TV beside my name, that's as good as it gets for me.
That's huge. I mean, in the world of medicine, all the letters, I guess it means something, but to most, probably absolutely nothing. So
so you've done so much. You've obviously put in the hours, the work to earn all of those types of degrees and aspects in what I would call your business. But I'm going to start way back. What were your childhood dreams when you were growing up, and where did you grow up?
Yeah, so I know you were kind of asking me a little bit about this yesterday, but I was originally born in Staten Island, New York, which is the fifth borough of New York City. Some people like to consider it New York City. Some like to pretend like it's not, but it's right there, right under Manhattan. And I lived there for a number of years. My family has always kind of been operated out of both cities, New York and Canada, which is interesting, a fun way to grow up, two great cities. But so grew up in New York, moved to Mississauga, Ontario first when I was around 5, and then I lived there for pretty much majority of my life. I went to elementary school, middle school, high school, And then about 10 years ago, my family, we all moved to Hamilton. But either way, I went to York University around that time when we moved. And yeah, so I've basically been living in Canada majority of my life. And then when I decided to go ahead and get my doctorate in physical therapy, I moved back to New York to do that, and eventually Oklahoma.
That's an incredible travel that you have had and put yourself through. It's an amazing thing to me. Now, what blows me away is well before these days, you were playing rugby for the Canadian national squad. You also played with York University. And respectfully, how does a young black woman in Canada fall in love with rugby?
Man, rugby is like one of those sports that will always have my heart. Thankfully, Canadian schools are really great about it. Almost every high school has a team. And I had a great coach back when I was in high school, Mr. Cormier. Shout out to Mr. Cormier. He introduced me to the sport when I was in high school. He basically just said, like, hey, you should come try out for the team. When I was in the ninth grade, just walking through the halls as a freshman, and I did. And, God willing, I ended up really excelling in the sport. And essentially it took me all the way, went through all the stuff in high school, but then eventually was on scholarship at York University to play. And then I was also on the U20 national team, development team for rugby sevens. And it was just great. It was a great time. I got to travel Canada. I got to travel a bit of the world playing rugby, which was awesome. And I'll never forget that time in my life at all. It was great.
And you played at a very high level, all Canadian, granted, and with the national team as well too. Like you said, some great days, and I think what I would say some great building blocks as we look at this Canadian rugby team and the women's side and the women's rugby World Cup right now, second ranked in the nation, in the world, and really the way they're playing, they look like they are going to go all the way to the final and maybe meet England. That's got to be a real proud moment for you.
Yeah, no, that's my prayer. First of all, shout out to all the ladies on the team. I grew up playing with a lot of them, so I'm wishing them the best of luck. It's amazing. Canadian rugby is a powerhouse to be reckoned with. The way that the country has invested in young women, especially in the sport, is unlike any other. The opportunities that they give us to play, the way that we are scouted out and, brought into so many different teams and opportunities to keep developing and learning is incredible. Even within the sphere of rugby and the teams that I played on. I also played on Team Ontario from the age of like 16 or 15 all the way through. I played on Team Ontario when I was in college. So, maybe till I was like 21 or so, on the senior women's team. So they invest in women in Canada, and they continue to give everybody opportunities to learn and grow. And it's a beautiful thing. So I'm not surprised if we go ahead and get the gold here. So congratulations to the ladies.
Yeah, young Taylor Perry has been on the Sportsline Podcast, and I'm sure someone that you know very, very well. But the interesting thing, now the fun part to me is that your story, you probably could have maybe went to England or Australia, New Zealand, maybe and played at a professional level, but you make a change. And you transition to what I would say continued education. Where did the passion from? And the whole idea that, I want to be a doctor. How did this all change?
Yeah, so, I always say, funny enough, it was never my plan to continue to play rugby as far as I did. I would say that was God pulling me in that direction to continue to play. But I remember after high school, I had a great high school career. I'm really grateful for that. And it was fun. I loved it. And I never even, to be honest, probably until my last year of high school, I never thought, I'd go ahead and play this in college. My whole plan was that I wanted to work I know it sounds so crazy to have thought of this so early, but I wanted to work in the NBA and I knew I wanted to be a physical therapist and athletic trainer. I knew that was my plan. In fact, when I first got like my offer, some of the offers to play college rugby, I denied all of them, you know, by the grace of, God kind of just speaking to me and my family and just, my coach as well. I eventually, at the 11th hour, decided that I was going to go to York and I was going to play rugby in college. It was not my plan. But everything just unfolded. I had such an incredible experience going to York because they ended up having an athletic training program, one of only two in Ontario. And so I was able to blend playing rugby as well as athletic training at such a at such a pivotal time in my life. A lot of programs don't allow people to be varsity athletes and athletic trainers. Technically, our program didn't allow that either, but they made an exception for me. So I was able to keep playing while also pursuing the main passion I actually had. So,
well, you're doing well at that point of your life in the books, I'll say. How do you end up on Long Island? Because that's where I guess it really happens. That's where you reach your highest level of education, at least in terms of being in school.
yeah. Even before I would say I ended up in Long Island, the athletic training program at York, I will say, built the building blocks without a doubt. During that time, I was able to, in my final kind of 2 years of the program, I was able to join Canada Basketball as their student athletic trainer. And that I would say was probably the biggest building block before I, finally went ahead and did my doctorate in physical therapy. I already had a passion for basketball and sports medicine, but that was like it catapulted me in ways that I never knew it would have. It put me in a great position to be accepted into my program. And then, of course, finally get the job I landed on in Oklahoma. So, finished with athletic training school and, applied to tons of schools, but I knew I would love to have come back to New York to kind of finish off my education. So that's how Stony Brook came about.
When you look at those days, and I think this is one of these times when you really look back, and as we talk about, the beginnings of your career, it had to be an unbelievable. I believe that's kind of your graduation pick. Like, how proud were you of what you've accomplished? What your parents thought? What your sibling? Like, what was your family thinking?
Well, thank you so much for that. I don't think. I think, something I always tell young people is don't allow some of your early academic experiences to decide what it's going to be like for the rest of your life. I didn't get great grades, in elementary school, even in through middle school, but at some point in time, things started to click for me, especially when my passion and desire and what I wanted to do really started to click for me. And I put in as much work as I could, and God willing, I was able to, just keep going. I went from undergrad, didn't know I was going to do a doctorate, and then, went all the way through a doctorate program. And it's wild to look back and see it all. But, everyone was so proud. Everyone is still really proud. And I'm super grateful, to have had the opportunity to do what I have done. I know a lot of people would love to keep going in education, but there's lots of barriers, but to that I say, by the grace of God, people would be able to accomplish whatever they want to, but it always starts with a dream and a goal and the motivation to do it.
So what you're doing with Canada basketball gives you that taste. It makes you work harder, gets you into that mindset of and some people are so visionary about it, and maybe that gave you the vision. And all of a sudden, the Oklahoma City Thunder, not so much the NBA team, but I guess their ABA, their sort of junior team, second level team. There's an opportunity there. How did this all happen?
Yeah, so you're so right. Canada basketball gave me the vigor for sure. And I think it was because I was already having the opportunity to work alongside, very experienced professionals within, sports medicine. And then, of course, already NBA athletes. So it was one thing to, see people, working with these athletes. It was another thing to realize that I am capable of working with them as well and could be even more capable with some more experience as well. So it was really nice to experience that. And then essentially, the way Oklahoma came about was when I was about finishing up my doctorate. Just through looking and doing a lot of research, I was able to realize that a lot of the biggest entry way going into the NBA is essentially starting out in the G League, which was the Oklahoma City Blue and many other teams within the NBA. Most teams have a G League team. And the Oklahoma City Thunder is a very special organization. They don't necessarily separate their G League from their NBA team as far as entities. So I've been employed by Oklahoma from the moment Oklahoma City Thunder from the moment I stepped into the organization, which was amazing. I applied to Oklahoma and a few other teams. God willing, I got a few offers, but Oklahoma City surprisingly stole my heart in terms of the people they had on staff, the way the organization was run, and just everything that they had going on. The way that the G League team the way that it was ran was incredible, unlike any other. And that's how I eventually charted my way to Oklahoma.
To someone that would ask the most simple question to you of what do you do with these athletes? And the second part of that I'm going to throw to you is, what is it like working with high-level professional athletes? I mean, I could just, from a broadcasting standpoint, when we got to talk to them in the press room or even sometimes they're big babies, right? Sometimes they're grown-ass men. Sometimes they're grumpy. Especially when you get to really know them and you get to see their real side. What's it like again? And what exactly do you do to make them better?
Yeah. I would say whenever somebody asks me this question, the main thing I always say is these athletes are, and I know this may sound a little cliche, but they are just like me and you. They just so happen to have extraordinary talent that brought them to where they are. And that's how I treat them. That's how we all treat them, which is they're my clients, they're my coworkers, but they're also, I look at them all like my brothers. And that's how I like to take care of them. And they have a lot going on. I think it's amazing how much goes on in the background of professional sports entertainment. The amount of responsibility, the amount of work they have on their shoulders is immense. And if someone was to ask me what I do, my job is more than just being their physical therapist and athletic trainers, which of course is, helping to rehab injuries, take care of, some of the acute things that happen on court. I sit on the bench. So, I run out, make sure that everything is okay on game days, while in play, as well as behind the scenes on the day-to-day treatment. But beyond all of that, my job is to make their life as easy as possible when it comes to their health and making sure that they have everything that they need to stay on court and to continue to play at a high level. So, it's a blessing. And, I would always say that these athletes have so much to them. They're some of the kindest people I know, some of the most generous and hardworking people I know. They don't just get there, through just kind of trotting their way. They're all extremely smart, and they're amazing. So I always feel incredibly blessed to do what I do.
Do you kind of have to earn their trust?
Absolutely. Absolutely. Athletes have been through a lot, as I say. So there's some people that take advantage of them. There's people who are, of course, very good people in their lives. But just like any other situation in life, I always say you do have to earn their trust, and you just do that by being genuine. If you're not genuine, they're going to sniff that out really quickly. So whenever I meet people that are going into this industry or are young athletic trainers, I'm always just like, lead with who you truly are. Don't try to be somebody else. There's qualities that I bring to the table that, some other people on my team don't. There's qualities that other people on my team bring to the table that I don't, and that's the beauty of it. We're like kind of a big, family organization, and, players can lean on different aspects of people's strengths. And it's a beautiful thing that way, just to be genuine and be who you are and allow people to gravitate towards you naturally.
I can only imagine what an 82-game grind would be like for a regular season, for the athletes, for yourself, for taking care of the athletes, the traveling that all goes into it. I think I can get a good feel of what that's all about. But in 2024 and 25, that got extended. That got extended. I'll say that lightly. In fact, you went as far as you could go. And I'm talking about, I can talk about being an NBA champion. I'll let you go. 3, 2, 1. What was that experience like?
It was a blessing. It was not easy, but it was incredible. I think there were days that were harder than others, everybody had to be motivated, between self-motivation as well as like leaning on everybody's strength, to keep going, to keep fighting. And then us as staff, we had to be big support systems to the people who help run everything that we're doing here, which is our athletes. So, it was crazy, but it made it all the more special. 2 game 7s, 4 rounds, Western Conference Finals. It was incredible. And I think everybody had massive support systems cheering them on, between family and extended family and, people that, from their communities. So it was an incredible experience, and I'm super grateful to have been a part.
Your responsibilities are so important, though, in terms of the medical side, working with the athletes. But did you take, or was there time to even be kind of a cheerleader through all of this?
I would say that in a way, I'm always a cheerleader. I'm always a cheerleader for my team. We all are, it's constant motivation for the people I work around. And I would say that goes beyond just the athletes, that goes to the staff. We have to encourage each other. We have to push each other along. As you kind of alluded to, we all play really, really important roles, a lot of roles that people don't even know about, and the more that we, chat with each other, the more that we encourage each other, the better the end product ends up being. So, I'm always a big cheerleader for my team, my organization, and every single person that plays a role. So for sure.
And it happens that it's Oklahoma City, and because you've lived in Hamilton, you maybe get this. And I've never been there, but I've talked to Joel Lorenzi, who may be someone you know that covered the team. It's not New York, it's not Chicago. As maybe Hamilton lives in kind of the shadow of the big city of Toronto. It's a smaller community, and like when you're in that parade, and what's the community like there? And obviously they just must love their Thunder.
Yeah, absolutely. I always tell my mom and just my family in general that um, living in OKC it's a special experience that coming from New York and coming from, bigger cities like, the Toronto GTA area, I never thought I would experience it or ever really knew it existed. Um, Everywhere I go, I see somebody I know or that knows me, or that knows somebody who knows me, or vice versa, or I know them, or something. You know, you can't go anywhere without someone without like having a conversation like, oh, like so and so that works for so and so, and when I always say whenever I'm on my last flight leg to go to OKC, I always meet somebody on the flight that I know, because there's only a few of us in Oklahoma City. So it's a special experience to know that you know your town in a way, and it makes me excited to like keep growing community here and keep being a part because it's strange in the coolest way coming from a city girl for sure.
Community is such an important part of what we do in this industry, and of course in sports it's such an important tie to the community, and I think it's amazing that you really have experienced that. Look, I gotta ask this question because
Okay.
people that watch this Sportsline podcast will send me emails that I was able to talk to Tobi in this situation of the Oklahoma City Thunder, but I have to ask you the question: what's it like working with Shai Gilgeous-Alexander?
Shay's great. Shay's a very, very genuine person, great person. I can't believe that. Not that I can't believe, because I truly can't believe he's a very hardworking person, but his journey and his like everything he's gone through from Hamilton to the NBA is one for the ages. So I'm incredibly proud of him. He's still the same person that he was when I've met him like 10 years ago. You know, he's wonderful, and I'm really, really proud of him. Absolutely. He's Hamilton product for sure.
Love it. Love hearing it. No, the funny thing is, after all that, after all the celebrations, and the grind is going to start in what, 3 weeks? Like it's turning over really soon.
Yeah, we've already kind of ramped up and began the process already. So it's incredible.
Now, when you look towards it, I mean, you're so young, and there's so much more to go. Like when you look long term, or I don't know if you look long term, or if you're one of those people that just live day by day, what's
Yeah.
the future look like for you? What is there some other end goal that you would like to you'd like to reach, or some kind of something? What's out there for you?
Yeah. I think for me right now, like, it's a beautiful thing to live in the product of your dreams. It's a really, really beautiful thing. I think right now it's just growing. As you said, I'm a young, professional. And for me, it's all about just growing, being better, not just for me in my craft, but being better for my athletes, being better for my organization. That's all my mind thinks of right now. I think on top of that, I I have been privileged to have been, mentored, led by so many people who just took me under their wings. So for me, whenever I come across somebody who I see with that bright light in their eye, that wants to do something big, in this industry, sometimes in, slightly related industries, I just want to be a part of other people's journeys the way that many have been a part of mine. Um, and that's my focus over the next couple of years. And just, as I said, continuing to grow as a person inside and out.
There's no doubt the pay it forward thing is, especially when you do get to experience some success in whatever you love to do and whatever business that you love. And I speak to everyone that's listening to this podcast. It's so important to identify the youth and maybe just pass along a couple of lessons. You don't have to preach, but just just give them a couple of lessons here and there. I don't know what it's like for you. I mean, especially in the United States. Obviously the dynamics are a little bit different in Canada, but do you see a lot of young Black doctors? What's that situation like? Is it growing? Yeah. You could be. You may be a pioneer. Like I don't know.
So there were people who came before me. Many people who came before me, even within the NBA, and I guess I would say, I live in Oklahoma, so it's a diverse state, but not as much as like maybe New York or Toronto, where I've come from. But globally, I see many people with higher level degrees and, working within sports of color, Black, and many other races. And it makes me really, really happy to see. Even my predecessor before me, Vanessa Brooks, who now works for the Los Angeles Lakers, was another young Black doctor of physical therapy that, led and mentored me before I eventually moved into the position she's in. So there are many, and the industry just continues to grow and be a little bit more people are starting to learn about it. I don't think a lot of people, including myself when I was younger, really knew how far you can kind of go and how many kind of specialties there were in physical therapy and sports medicine and medicine as a whole. So I would definitely say it's growing, and access is becoming greater in ways. So I would say overall it is growing, and I do see a lot more and more every day.
Tobi, as a Black woman, as someone that is an NBA champion, that can call herself a doctor, someone that's accomplished dreams, you've played sports, it's a fantastic story. I know we've only probably just touched a little bit of it, of all that you've experienced, but for the time that we've spoken, I can say I'm amazingly proud of you. Continued success. Please keep in contact, because you don't know it, but you're paving the route for a lot of people, and probably have inspired a lot of people that have listened to this podcast. So thank you for all you've done.
Thank you, Bubs. I appreciate it. Hamilton has been an amazing place that I would say our family has been able to rest our head here. It's great people, great community, and I'm super happy to contribute in any way I can. And if somebody sees me as an inspiration, I'm super happy to be that. And I always give glory to God, and I'm just thankful to have experienced what I have. And I definitely recognize the blessing of it all. So I so appreciate you having me on, Bubs. Thank you.
Well, all I can say, one request, is that the next time you're in town, you can come see us at the studios, and we can sit down on the cozy couch and reminisce about what's going on in your next upcoming season and your new ventures. Thank you so much for joining us, Tobi.
Thank you, Bubs, and thank you all.
All right, take care. Folks, that's your Sportsline podcast for the day. And if you just seen and heard, we love talking sports. If you do know of an athlete, team, or event to promote the Sportsline podcast, we want to hear from you. Look at what people are doing from the Golden Horseshoe all over the planet, folks. It's amazing. Please hit the thumbs up, like, and subscribe button if you have something to say. We always appreciate your comments. For the outstanding people that make the Sportsline podcast possible, thank you so very much. And we will see you very soon.